Occult Macabre, a phantasmagoric guide to pop culture's dark side. I'm Lee.
And I'm Richie.
And today we bring to you I Know What You Did Last Summer, a 1997 American slasher film directed by Jim Gillespie and written by Kevin Williamson.
And if you don't know who Jim Gillespie is, you may recognize the name from another horror film he did, 2005's Venom. And he didn't really do much else after 2016 from a film called Billionaire Ransom. However, you probably do know who Kevin Williamson is. Kevin Williamson is a very well-known screenwriter, having written and developed the screenplays for the Scream franchise. He even created the WB teen series Dawson's Creek on CW, and most recently working on Netflix's crime series The Waterfront. Now, he also wrote The Faculty, which I really enjoy. That's another great movie we should probably talk about on this podcast at some point.
Oh, for sure. And I believe this came out about a year after Scream came out, correct?
Yeah, it came out a year after Scream, and also the same year that Buffy the Vampire Slayer started. So we're getting like a bunch of like crossover here as far as the horror genre is concerned. I mean, even Scream 2 came out in 1997, then also starred one of the co-stars of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
And you'll see a lot of familiar faces if you're a kind of a 90s kid like us. It stars Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Phillippe, and Freddie Prinze Jr.
Let's not forget Johnny Galecki.
Oh, yeah.
And Bridget Wilson, who is most famously known as Sonya Blade from Mortal Kombat 1995, and Dat Veronica Vaughn from Billy Madison.
You had to throw it in with the accent and everything.
Look, it's hilarious.
You do it so well.
I try. So anyway, let's get into this movie. This is probably one of the most well-known 90s slashers, and the difference between this one and Scream, which Kevin Williamson wrote this before Scream had come out or was even conceptualized, maybe at the same time. Scream, where it was kind of a send-up satire of horror teen tropes and things like that, this is a very straightforward slasher film.
It is very, I would say, by the book as far as the steps that slashers take in progression. It's based off a 1973 novel by Lois Duncan, and it centers around these friends who are stalked by a killer who wields a hook. These kids are under the impression that on the 4th of July of their senior year in high school, they were driving drunk down a windy mountain road and accidentally hit and presumably killed a man.
Yeah, and it's not... I mean, it is cut and dry like that, but also there's more. It's surprisingly a layered movie as far as the whodunit thing goes, because there's a few red herrings, which I highly appreciated about this movie. But I love the way the movie opens. It opens with this really slow, not a slow crawl, but it's a crawl over the ocean, which was actually, this was filmed in California, even though the film takes place on location in Southport, North Carolina. The rolling open is set to Typo Negative's Summer Breeze, which I think is a really great opener. I love Typo Negative. That's one of my favorite metal bands of all time. And I think it's really dreary and just moody. It kind of sets the tone.
Moody is a good word for it. I will say, though, that, you know, you get the shot of the ocean and the mountains and then that windy road. And I'm sitting here thinking the jump scare's coming. Any minute now, I'm bracing myself.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, too, about that opening. I love that the fact that they found such a watery front with the look that they had for being a California location, trying to pass it off as a North Carolina location, because the town of Southport is supposed to be like a boating, a fishing community, you know, with a lot of offshore workers. And
we're not talking about sandy beaches. We're talking about rocky cliff beaches.
Yeah, and the town is supposed to be over, what, like 3,000 people?
Yeah, I genuinely thought it was shot in Oregon, which is why I had to ask you when we were watching it where they actually shot this movie, because those kind of beaches, I lived in Washington for a while, are very, very familiar for that northern, northwest United States area for sure.
Yeah.
It suited them very well for the location.
Yeah. But we open on a character who we obviously, like, if you've seen this, you find out it's not just a throwaway shot. They show him wearing, you know, his overalls, and like it's a good shot where they establish what this dude looks like. So you need to pay attention. You know, it's like obviously like let's pay attention to this guy. But they cut to, you know, it's a small town parade. It's the annual Croaker Queen pageant. Croaker Queen. Yeah.
Croaker, I hardly know her.
Jesus fucking Christ, here we go.
I had to slip it in, I'm sorry.
That's what he said. So it opens on the Croaker Queen pageant, which if you've seen Scary Movie, this movie is highly parodied in that one. And it's almost hand in hand. I can't watch half of these movies like this without thinking of that film in particular.
We couldn't stop cracking jokes. It was too good.
Right. But I think that speaks to the legacy of these types of movies. I think they are highly revisitable.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we're introduced to the characters of Julie James, Helen Shivers, Barry Cox, and Ray Bronson, which Helen Shivers' character is that of like, she's this really typical, like blonde, pretty, like well-to-do.
She's your beauty queen type.
Yeah, she's like the well-to-do type. And then like Barry, which is played by Ryan Phillippe, is just a jock. Like, let's just be honest, he is the jock. It's weird because Julie James's character is actually written as a very, very upper class person, but she doesn't ever really come off that way.
All of the rest of them really do, except for Ray. I think they make a point to tell you that Ray is not the most advantaged of the group.
Ray is the blue collar guy from the group. Like, it's very obvious and put, like, even there's a scene where Max, who's played by Johnny Galecki, rolls up on them when they have struck the pedestrian crossing the road on the turnpike, where he looks at Ray and he's like, you know, you've almost got that rich boy act down. Like, he's just really giving him shit. And that's kind of also a little bit of a red herring. They've put tension between Ray and Max's characters over Julie, because it's very obvious that Max and Julie have known each other for a long time, and he's got a thing for her.
Yeah, there's a closeness there. And Barry's temper works really well with that too. He's the first to jump down Max's throat way before Ray, who is Julie James's boyfriend in the movie, ever even does.
Ray, look, I'm just going to come ahead and say it, man. Ray Bronson's character is a giant twat.
He's a pussy.
Yeah. So they're leaving the Croker pageant parade party or whatever, and they have been drinking. Well, Barry has been heavily drinking. I believe it is implied that Ray is like super sober, and maybe Julie and Helen have not partaken. But again, it's obvious that Barry is fucking intoxicated as shit. So they're driving, and Barry drunkenly cranks the radios, hanging out of the hood or hanging out of the sunroof of the car. He gets distracted. They all get distracted, and they hit this guy. And, you know, that's the whole plot of the movie is like, oh shit, we hit a guy. We should probably dump the body. No, we should probably tell the police. No, we're going to fry no matter who takes the fall. Like, there's this giant...
It's my car. I'm drunk. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
And you know, I got to say, I think how every character reacts in this scene, it really speaks to that specific person, like that specific character, because... Like Ray, obviously, he seems like the guy that knows the town way too well. He's definitely one of those guys that, as is implied in the series, actually, when you look at the sequel, he's very much like a dude that he tried to leave and go to New York City, and it just...
He's a lifer.
Yeah, he's a town lifer. Barry had, you know, sports plans. Helen had acting plans. Julie had what? She was going to be like some attorney or some shit?
Yes.
Yeah. So, like, they all had futures kind of written for themselves, but it's never implied of what Ray had in mind. So he knows this town well enough to be like, it doesn't matter who of us takes the fall. We're all going to go to jail. We're going to fry for this. It's manslaughter.
So they decide that the wisest course of action may in fact be to pick up this body and dump it off of a pier so that no one finds it and therefore nothing happens.
And it's kind of weird the way the dominoes fall in this situation, because at first they're all like, no. And Barry is the first to be like, no, let's dump the fucking body. He's like, literally, we'll dump the body. And at first Helen's like, no, we're not going to do that. And then Ray starts like considering it like, oh yeah, the currents are strong and, you know, like the body would be washed away. And then Helen even looks at Julie and is just like, oh no, we'll pretend we were never here, like it never happened. It's just like, okay, everybody's like convincing each other out of paranoia to do this.
Rationalizing it, yeah.
Right, and I gotta say, the only consistent person in this entire thing is Julie. She never once like falls, but like she is, how do I put this? She's almost a victim of association to this point, because she's the only one that wanted to do right by them, even though she chose not to in the end, because she very well could have. By the time we come to a year after the fact, she could have done it, but did not do it.
It's important to keep in mind that these are high school seniors at this point, and of course they're going to be making irrational conclusions and decisions based off what happened. I will say that, you know, even with Barry's hand around her throat, Julie still did not want to agree to this.
And can I also point out, we both were watching this, like we've seen this several times over the last like 25, 26 years. And just the fact that Barry grabs Julie up by the throat and puts her next to the car, and not even once does Ray intervene physically. He's just like, dude, you're hurting her. And I'm like, yeah, no shit, dude. He's fucking drunk and just threw a body off the pier.
That's immediately where I was like, Ray's a fucking pussy. Like, no one would be grabbing my partner by the throat like that in front of me without me doing something about it. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, dude's Yeah.
I think they were all a little bit afraid of Barry, not just because of his temper, and he's probably physically strong because he's a jock, but they give you the idea that he's like one of the more affluent families in the town, for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting the way that Ryan portrayed Barry Cox's character, because Barry was not written like with that kind of a stature. He was written to be bigger, like he's written to be a bigger guy. So I think Ryan Phillippe had to turn up the intimidation and the anger and the aggressive kind of factor.
He had to play up the personality to make it work. Yeah. And he does. He does a good job.
Yeah. But anyway, we cut to a year later, and Julie is getting ready to leave college for the semester, or the summer actually, and they all meet back up, and this is where we kind of kick off. Like, she comes home, we get the whole note scene, like, oh, I know what you did last summer, because it was in the mail at her mom's house, and she's just like, what the fuck? And
she has a whole breakdown over it.
Yeah, and I mean, this is also kind of a story about how a traumatic event, it doesn't matter what it is, however, in this case, it's pretty goddamn serious. It's a case of how a traumatic shared event can change people's relationships.
Absolutely. I actually appreciate the scene where she starts to reconnect with the group. You see her, go and visit Helen, Helen's sister, actually, at their family-owned shop to try and talk to her about what happened. And she was like, oh, I need Helen's number for New York. And the sister's like, oh, haha, that's funny. You think she's in New York. She's right behind me at the perfume counter. And then you find out that, like, across all four of them, they all had these ideas and dreams of what they wanted to do or be. And it's like their lives completely got derailed by what they experienced and how they took it on, to the point where it even split all four of them apart from each other, and none of them have any contact with one another anymore.
Yeah, because nobody knows who did what, who's been doing what. I mean, and none of their I think Julie may be the only one that went to college for what she's doing and has, like, stuck to it.
I think Ray went, but it didn't work out, and he ended up coming back to his hometown, yeah.
Right, because what happens is Barry and Helen and Julie all wind up connecting because they decide to go see Barry. They all figure out, oh, well, who else was there that night? Because they start talking, which I love this fucking line when they roll up, and like one of the first things out of Barry's mouth, first things out of Barry's mouth is, he's like, what are y'all doing here? And then it cuts to him. He's like, I know what you did last summer. Ooh, what a crock of shit.
That's so scary.
Yeah. Dude,
and then proceeds to tell the girls that they look like shit.
Run over twice. Yeah, you guys look like shit run over twice. I'm like, God damn, bro.
He's a little rough around the edges.
Well, yeah, because Helen, as they're walking up, tells Julie that they broke up like that summer. They broke up that fucking year.
And you see that Helen has like picked up smoking. She does it in almost like every single scene after Julie comes back from college. I
mean, I would probably pick up smoking after that too.
And I think they mentioned Barry has a drinking problem as well.
He does, because he's almost never without alcohol at certain spots in this movie. Mm-hmm. Like, it's implied because his fuse is a little short, but it's weird because, like, he still hits the gym and he's still in great shape. But Barry is one of those guys who was written like he's peaked in high school. Even though, granted, this is a year after the fact, he's very much still holding on to that part of his personality. It is evidence when he's going to the gym and his Letterman jacket is stolen.
But that is his whole personality.
Correct. But they realize, oh, shit, Max was there, Johnny Galecki's character. They're like, oh, Max was there that night. Oh, I'm going to go pay a visit to Max.
Gotta be Max, yeah.
So Barry rolls up in there and just, like, really intimidates the shit out of him. He's like, I know you were there, motherfucker. I seen you. I seen it.
I seen you.
And that whole line, it's funny to see Johnny Galecki, having grown up with him in Christmas Vacation, and then seeing him in later years on The Big Bang Theory, but then going back and putting it together. Oh, he was in this movie. And to see him play such a character that chases what he doesn't chase. He's one of those guys that, this scene reminds me of, like, whenever you get into an argument with somebody and then, like, I don't know, maybe later in the day, maybe you're in the shower and you're sitting there like, I fucking should have said this to him. Because he rolls up and just grabs that hook out the eyes. Don't you test me, motherfucker. Kick your rich ass, or whatever the fuck he says.
He also looks literally exactly the same as he does today. There is no change in that man's face.
Yeah, I was going to say that dude's aged considerably well.
Yes.
But he's actually the first to, he's not the first death in the movie, but he's the first of this cast of characters to get murked. Like, and believe it or not, that was actually added on after the fact, because he didn't even die in the original script. Like, the test screenings, they were like, oh, there was like hardly any bloodshed. There's hardly any real over-the-top violent death in this movie. And he was very violently killed.
Let me also say, in my opinion, that it is the best death scene in the entire movie. I think it's the best kill and the best visual. period. I don't think any of the other kill scenes even come close.
And then again, that's because they hardly had any bloodshed.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there's a couple of death scenes they had to either reshoot or go back and add in additional stuff, even though it was very practical effects. There's no CG really that I know of from this movie.
Was this rated R or rated PG-13?
It's rated R.
Is it? Okay.
Because the death scene with Max is, he gets a hook through the jaw and he's dragged over this like stove thing.
And there's like a big blood smear all across the top. And it's shot top down, so it's a very good visual there. And actually, I think it's probably one of the best shot scenes, period, in the movie, too.
Yeah, and to think about it being shot after the fact kind of says as much.
I have to say that that's one thing about the film that did not particularly catch me as striking outside of the opening scene and that one kill. And then, of course, the iconic scene of her screaming, "What are you waiting for?" filmed from the sky. Those are like the most visually striking scenes. I don't actually think this movie was particularly well filmed.
It was okay. I guess just it's really, paint by numbers if you want to put it that way.
Yeah. Step for step.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. Once we get to that area, which we're kind of like killing through a lot of, we're killing through a lot of this movie, but I mean, to put it very bluntly, it kind of coasts through a lot of these characters and these setups where Ryan Phillippe's character Barry is attacked at the gym, like we were mentioning earlier. He still works out and stuff. Well, he goes to the gym. He gets a photograph in his gym locker, and he gets hit by a car. He gets hit by his own car and thrown through a giant like seawall area on the dock. He doesn't get killed, but he's in the hospital with Julie and Helen and Ray. He's just sitting there like, oh, we got to figure something out. And that's the whole subplot where they go and visit Anne Heche's character, Missy Egan, because Julie has figured out, oh, there was somebody named David Egan that drowned accidentally that same night. And again, it's a lot of red herrings that are kind of put into place, which it's neat at this point because you don't know for sure if they're right or wrong about this, and they're really framing Ray as the guy, because at one point when they're all gathered, when this is after Julie finds Max's body in her trunk with crabs like all over his body, that's the whole infamous "what are you waiting for" scene, which I might add that was actually shot and guest directed by a kid who won a contest to direct a scene and create a scene in this movie. And that is the one that he created. And ironically enough, it is the most iconic of this entire film. And when Jennifer Love Hewitt first heard this, she was like, "You're kidding me, right? Like, I'm really doing this. Oh, that's a great idea." Like, really like sarcastic about it. And then wound up being like, well, actually it was fucking genius.
And it ended up being one of the most iconic 90s slasher film scenes in like all of the slasher films throughout the 90s. It's very, very well known. And I will add also, Jennifer Love Hewitt has great acting screams. She really does. She does great terror screams.
She was actually very encouraged by Jamie Lee Curtis upon getting the role here. So like that's the ultimate endorsement in my opinion. If you get an endorsement from Jamie Lee Curtis, like you done won.
You done did good.
But yeah, what I was saying with Barry was like they're framing Ray as this person because he's like, oh fuck, Helen gets her hair chopped off, which we forgot about that. Like she comes home and she goes to sleep, and the guy in the slicker has like made his way into the house and cuts her hair.
There's a very good scene there that you pointed out where she's walking through her home doing these normal things, getting a Diet Coke from the fridge, taking a few sips.
Dude, look, hold on. Yeah, look, okay. We're talking about, if you've listened to our Nightmare on Elm Street review, we talk about how very brand heavy the alcohol usage was in both of those, like beer brand beer in part 2, and then Marge's love of vodka from part 1. And they stick to the same shit. I feel like that Diet Coke was a huge product placement spot.
Oh, definitely. It absolutely was.
Who goes to look? And I'm really asking this out there. If somebody out there can actually answer this in such a way that is real, I will applaud the shit out of you because I don't get it. Who the fuck goes and grabs a whole can of Diet Coke, probably warm? I mean, it's out of the fridge, obviously, but she grabs a glass, no ice, and pours it's a tall-ish glass. She pours
a few sips.
A quarter of the Diet Coke into the glass, takes a sip, and just leaves it on the counter. Yeah. Who the fuck does that?
She does, because it was in the script.
It's a fucking waste of Diet Coke.
The product placement manager was like, look, we got to put it in somewhere, and these bitches is not at a restaurant, so work with what we got.
Then he's sitting there, like, look, Helen Shivers' character would be like drinking the non-caloric soda to hold her figure as Kruger Queen. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's that scene after she sips on the soda where she's turning around and heading towards the upstairs area. And right before she turns around the corner to go up the stairs, you see the guy in the slicker literally turning the corner at the top of the stairs just out of sight. And it definitely lends to that, that's actually fucking terrifying, is you could be going about your day doing your normal shit and not even know that somebody is already there watching you.
Yeah, and another thing that I want to point out for this entire sequence is that when Helen comes home, she even says hello to her dad, who is just engrossed with this baseball game on TV, and the front door is right there, and the living room is directly to her right when she enters, and he's just stared off. He doesn't acknowledge her. He doesn't say shit. He's just staring away.
Sips his whiskey.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The fisherman comes in the house the same exact way and just walks right by. Like, the dude, he's all polite. He just goes in, he wipes his boots off, and, he hangs his hook up on the key ring thing right there. And, he's like, hey, man, I'm just gonna grab the rest of this Diet Coke off the counter. He just goes upstairs. After Helen and her sister kind of get into it, because her sister's like, "Oh, you need to come in early," and she's like, "Fuck you! I'm in the Croaker Queen pageant. This is tradition." It's like, she doesn't really say it like that, but I would have, because her sister's a bitch.
Her sister is a horrible bitch. She says such awful things to her.
She really does. And they also kind of plant that the sister. They kind of plant a red herring on the sister because she makes that comment about her hair or whatever, and then she wakes up and her hair is all chopped off. Almost said whacked off. That'd have been fucking hilarious.
Her hair's all whacked
off. Her hair's all whacked off, man.
That's a whole different movie we're talking about there.
I know what you did, last comer.
Jesus Christ. The hook is actually one of those anal hooks. I ain't gonna keep kink shame, but goddamn.
Yeah. But anyway, we all wind up back again. I promise I've steered this conversation back. We wind up at that spot where, he's sitting there. He's like, "Oh yeah, Helen gets her hair chopped off. Julie gets a body in the trunk. I get hit by my car, and you get a fucking letter." Like, he rolls up and just, bro, Barry. Look, y'all. Barry fucking rolls up, and I swear to God, he punches Ray so hard that motherfucker said,
"You win. Perfect."
He got punched so hard, he got thrown into a Scooby-Doo prequel.
Dude. Look, okay, this might very well be the Scooby-Doo prequel, and we never knew about it because
this is how the gang got together.
It really, but if you look at this cast exactly like a Scooby-Doo cast, it fucking makes sense. Because look, Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar are there. That's already Fred and Daphne, and then you could easily plant Jennifer Love Hewitt as Velma.
Absolutely.
And Ryan Phillippe has it in him to play a goofy motherfucker. I know he does. I know he does. Who's the dog in this one? That would be Elsa Shippers, because she is a bitch. That's a dog joke for you all out there.
That one was a little rough. Like a small dog.
Damn. Yep. But anyway, he punches the fuck out of him, and he just gets up like, oh. Like, dude, Ray doesn't even fight back. He's a pussy.
Pussy. Even in the second movie, he doesn't really.
Ray, why are you like this, my dude?
He doesn't really, give it that oomph. He's still kind of a pussy.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I believe after that we get the scene with her at the pageant. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. I like the pageant scene a lot, actually, because you got Barry up in the rafters and he's watching her, much like they were all watching her at the very beginning of the movie when she won the previous year. And I guess it's tradition for the woman who won last year to be on the stage while they crown the new one.
Can I just say how much I felt her pain that entire time? Look, if I had to watch this the lady that was on stage singing was just purposefully written to be god awful at whatever the fuck it was that they had her doing.
The look on Helen's face.
She fucking just mouthed herself. She goes, Jesus. I was like, girl, same.
It was great. But she looks
No, it
up,
wasn't great. She was, Jesus. It wasn't
the
great.
Exact opposite. But she looks up and she sees the fisherman. She's peering through the stage lights, and she sees the fisherman poised over him with his hook, and then just starts screaming in the middle of this woman's singing number, and starts bolting through the crowd to get upstairs, yelling her fucking nuts off. And what does the crowd do? They don't rush after her to help or part and make way for her. They crowd around her and then grab her as if she's the one committing murder. What the fuck is up with that? What kind of reaction is that?
It's the 90s.
And then the sheriff comes up and he's like, "What's going on here?" And then walks upstairs, looks around for 3 fucking seconds and goes, "Nope, everything's fine here." And then they just leave.
Meanwhile, there is a bloody drip on the banister.
Yeah, it does do a good job of panning over to the side, and in one little beam of light you see bloody drips.
As if to tell the audience, see, she's not crazy after all.
And she gets in the back of that policeman's cruiser. He does offer to take her home, but lo and behold, because the streets were cordoned off for the parade, he ends up taking a back alley road, and there's a truck with a man bent over the hood in the middle of the back alley.
This would be the way to start a porno somewhere. Like, that man is like, I'm going to take a back alley. Emphasis on back alley. Then he's like, there's a man bent over the hood of that truck. I'm going to stop this. You chill in the back seat. Like, this is an MFM situation, guys. He's fucking, yeah. Anyway, I think we also forget to point out, before any of this happens, the police officer is making fun of her.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, is this the one? Oh, wait, I know. This is the one where, he's obviously making fun of, like, oh, it's an urban legend. Oh, isn't this the one where the guy who's got the hook on his hand and he leaves it on the door or whatever?
I've heard this before. Oh, okay, buddy.
Yeah, and they do that in the beginning of the movie, too, where they're all on the beach having the party. And they're all like hearing this fucking story about it, and they all hear it differently and shit like that. So it's a town thing that everybody's heard, But anyway, like he's like, goes, this guy is the same hook that he used to cut off all your hair, and she's like, no, he used the scissors, asshole. And I'm like, fuck
I
yeah,
love that part. Oh, that was so great. When she puts like some venom in her voice, she sounds so fucking pissed off, and it does remind me of her playing Buffy, and I love that.
Sarah Michelle Gellar is so good at being a bitch when she wants to be, but she's also extremely charming and extremely charismatic.
Gorgeous smile, really, and big, beautiful doe eyes. She's pretty lady. So is Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah, I think everybody plays their parts extremely well in this movie so far. Yeah, so he stops at this guy's fucking truck, and he's like, I'll be right back. And he fucking gets out.
She immediately starts screaming after him. Like, she recognizes the danger in the situation so much faster than he does.
Fucking,
And she's sitting there screaming. He looks over, like, behind him, because she's in the back of his cruiser, and he's squinting, and he's like, huh? And then immediately, hooked and dragged, just donezo. She busts out the window of the cop car, I believe.
Yeah, she puts those heels to very good use.
Like, what else are they going to be good for?
Dude, she busted shit out of that glass so hard. It was like everywhere.
And then she like drags herself out. I'm sure she cut up her hands and her knees real good. And then bolts all the way down the street to her father's shop where her sister is still closing up for the night. So she's got like the lights are half off and the door's locked and the mannequins are all covered up. She's like screaming and banging on the door to be let in. Her sister, Elsa, taking her sweet fucking time, gets halfway there, stops, has to turn back around to go grab the keys to the front door, and then come back and then let her in. And all this time, while the front door was locked and secured, the back door to the shop was not locked and secured.
Her sister does come off like a back door is always open kind of bitch.
It's the only way she can get her kicks in this town.
Yeah.
But that unlocked back door... God damn it.
Her sister's like, can't get pregnant if you fuck me in the butt. Oh my God. I'm sorry, go on with the chlorophyll.
The killer, before she even gets there to lock it, while her sister Helen is trying to phone the police, the killer's already snuck in. She was way too slow on the draw on that. She closes and locks the door, turns around, he's already there. He slashes her. She gives a pretty good scream, and then you get your blood splatter. Sister Helen hears the scream from upstairs, gets chased by the killer at that point when she wants to go see what's going on, pulls herself up like a dumbwaiter kind of looking thing, and ends up yeeting herself out the fucking window, parkour style, onto some boxes in an alleyway to get away from him.
She took that fall like Mick Foley took the fall off the Hell in a Cell.
Ooh. And he got it real worse.
Yeah.
Damn, hers actually led to her death, though. That's something we can say for him. He chases her so when she jumps into the alley, she's running through, because everything is still set up for, like, the parade and shit. So she's winding through all these back alleys and finally gets to one that leads straight out to the parade. You see the band going by and everything. There's fireworks going off. The music is really loud. And it is the perfect cover for her 2-second pause to look behind her, and she turns right back around, and there is that fucker in his trench coat And then it's a short struggle in the loud, and then it's done. He got her good.
He was real tired of her shit.
The alleyway was all covered in stacks and stacks of tires, so that's why no one could see him murdering the shit out of her.
He was
right
using
there.
rubber as protection.
Every situation calls for a rubber, kids. I didn't know there was a safe sex message in this movie somewhere.
I mean, they
had unprotected sex on the beach in the very beginning.
Hey, look, man, at the time of filming, I'm just happy this wasn't a Firestone tire, guys. All right?
It did break one of the cardinal rules of horror slasher films, though. You don't get fucked or you get murked.
I don't know, man. And maybe that kind of rolls back to did Julie and Ray actually boink on the beach? And I'm calling it the boink on the beach because they both, like, spoilers, they both survived this movie because there was a sequel and then another sequel and then a legacy sequel and they're both still in it. So, hey.
They actually talk about fucking a lot now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So yeah, the the Croker beauty pageant has come to an end. And can I point out, before we leave this scene, can I please point out the fact that I'm so glad that when they did the casting for this and then they hired like a marching band to do this, they probably hired actual fucking high school kids to do this because it's very shittily played. I know shittily ain't a word, but I'm fucking making it one. It was very shittily played because the fucking notes are all bad and shit. They're like, yeah,
the end of that one scene, we're both cracking the fuck up because it's so bad.
Because they leave it. I guess just the visual in my head is like when something bad happens and like a record slows down to a screeching fucking halt. No, it just like it just fucking slow down. That's what I pictured. The band is just leaving because it's the back end of the fucking parade and they're just fucking done.
They've given up at this point.
They did.
They're like, nobody's hearing us anymore anyway.
Yeah, fuck it. It's the last take.
They're all drunk. They're not going to remember this shit.
Let's go get fucked up at the docks. But
Which
anyway,
is where Julie gets fucked up next, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, so we kind of cut through all of the Missy Egan shit. So long story short is that we find out via her going to find Ray at the docks that he is on this boat named Billy Blue, which Ray has used as a name to go visit Missy Egan.
He tried to do all this research before Julie ever did the whole year that she was gone because his own guilty conscience would not let him rest.
Right. So as it turns out, she thinks it's him because of the boat, because she heard the name Billy Blue from Missy. So she's like, oh, Ray's the killer. I gotta leave. And she fucking runs from him and he gets clotheslined by Ben Willis, who is the fisherman, who is the actual killer, because it is revealed that Missy's brother, David, was engaged to Ben's daughter, Susie.
Which he's the one that we see at the very beginning of the film, sitting on the very edge of the cliff, playing with a necklace, I believe.
Yeah, it's a little spin locket. It says, I love you on it. And the little ding that it makes when he flips it is a very important note to remember here, because that sound actually comes back into play a couple of times with the fisherman, because the fisherman has that exact same amulet.
And you see that when Julie runs onto the boat to go and make her emergency phone call, the room that the phone is located in is actually full of mementos, not just from his daughter and his daughter's fiance at the time, but from it's got some of Helen's hair from the cut is on the wall. The necklace is hanging there. The Letterman jacket, I believe, is there as well. And the look of instant recognition on her face is a good reveal.
I also want to point out that it's not even just the mementos. There are studio shot still photos of them all over the place. Like, it's not even like, oh, these are Polaroids that I went and took creepily in a bush somewhere. No, these are fucking professional
headshots and photographs.
It's fucking funny.
He was scouting him out for the porno.
He was. So he takes her on board the Sweet Susie, and by the time she realizes what's happened, he's already set this boat a-sailing. Would you call him an assailant?
I mean, by definition, he would have to be, right?
Yeah. So by the time Ray recollects his consciousness,
he sees them going off in the distance.
Yeah, and he jumps in this little boat. His little fucking...
A dingy dinghy.
It's a little fucking juicy fruit pack with a motor. Gets a little bitty fucking pack of gum with a motor.
What if it had been one of those paddle boats where you can only go with the feet?
And if they would have done this in Scary Movie, I'd have cracked up. He just gets in a canoe and just
It's shaped like a swan or something.
Yeah. So he eventually catches up with him, and Julie finds Helen and Barry's bodies literally on ice.
Oh yeah, he was chasing her all throughout this boat. And I love how he moves so slow because he knows the boat. He knows it like the back of his hand. He could probably navigate it in the dark. He knows exactly where she's going and where she's going to end up, and does his best to meet her at the other end of it where she no longer has any chance to get away from him.
Yeah.
And it ends up in a giant like icebox at the bottom of the ship, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that really puts an exclamation point on Helen's shivers. Because that bitch be cold as ice now.
She definitely on ice.
She do be cold. But yeah, we wind up getting Ray on the boat, and dude, if he would have missed, this would have been it for him. Like he gets knocked off the boat. I should point that out. He gets knocked off the boat first. And
yeah, that's right.
Gets his way back on the boat. And by the time Ben Willis catches up with Julie, Ray has grabbed this heavy fucking boat hook that's just...
Oh, God, yeah.
Look, dude, Ben takes that bitch right in the fucking mush. Like, real fucking hard.
Like we were watching Home Alone or some shit, I swear to God.
Fucker just said...
Right in the schnoz!
He fucking fell over, just gets his ass handed to him by a hook.
It'd have been nice if they'd have bloodied his face or like something after that, but they didn't really do anything with that.
No, they really didn't. It's almost like his baseball hat took the brunt of the object, and it's like, okay, dude, come on.
And they definitely run with that little like a slasher stereotype where no matter what you do, the killer just keeps getting up and coming after you. And finally, he goes after them again and underestimates Ray's positioning, gets his hand caught in some ropes while he's wielding the hook. Ray tightens the rigging and immediately like throws a lever or something, and it severs his hand as he's thrown into the air. The hand is still gripping the hook on the net, and you just see his body crash into the water after that.
Yeah. And I love the line from Ben where he's like, you know, if next time you kill somebody, make sure they're actually dead. Basically, like I'm not speaking verbatim. I am just remembering how he's pretty much just like, oh yeah, you know, it's just that cheesy villain line. Make sure they're actually dead. And he's just like,
which is something that they don't do because at the end, when the police are pulling like the boat in and going over it and getting the bodies out, they pull up the net and you see the hand hanging there with the hook and you see the slicker jacket, but they never retrieve his body.
Yeah, because the lead captain that's doing the search is just like, oh, the body will turn up. They always do. And I'm like, no, they fucking don't. They really fucking don't.
We do end up with Julie and Ray reconciling. Because we get another flash forward after that.
Oh, another year.
Yes, another year into the future. And Julie is back at college. She's in her dorm and she's like cranking up the shower and whatnot. And it's like getting all steamy and filling up. She's on the phone with Ray. And they're all like mushy gushy talking about, you know, fucking each other's brains out next time they see each other in like 2 weeks or whatever. And she hangs up the phone and she sees like a letter with her name on it on a bench. And she walks up to it and she's like, she's breathing heavy and shaking. And she's like opening this letter. I can't remember exactly what it said. Do you?
Yeah, her roommate's like, oh, I got to run. There's a letter for you. And she's like, oh, thanks. And she goes and there's no post stamp or anything. And it just says Julie James in the same exact handwriting. And she opens it up and it's a birthday or it's like a party, like a frat party or some shit.
It's something like that. And she's like all relieved. And then she turns around and goes back into the shower area, hears something and like looks and turns and it says, I still know, written in the steam on the mirror. Yeah, because she sees that and she starts looking around and she's like, what the hell? And then you hear the ding of the amulet happen. And then she like slow turns and Ben Willis in the slicker suit jumps through the shower door and it cuts to black with a big scream. And that's literally that. The cut we watched of the movie too ends like, I wouldn't say quite mid-scream, but it definitely cuts off the end of it, and you're just like, what? Like, it's so abrupt and brief. You're just like, oh okay. It's just, it's great.
Yeah, I Know What You Did Last Summer. That's the end of the movie. But I Know What You Did Last Summer was a big enough hit. It made $125.3 million on a $17. If anybody made a $17 movie, I'd shit myself. Fucking 17.
It's one of Neil Breen's movies.
But no, $125.3 million on a $17 million budget, and not very long after. In fact, I think less than a year later, or a little over a year later, it's like a year and a few days, actually, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer was released to theaters. And it made actually like less money. They spent more money, made less money than the first one, but it was still a success. Like, for the time that it had come out, it was still a really big success. And to the point that, I mean, years later, that was like 1998, but we didn't get like a third sequel until 2006. And then we just recently got the legacy sequel titled I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Didn't they make a TV show based off this too?
Yeah, there was a TV series, and it was on Amazon, and I'm pretty fucking sure that it did not do well. In fact, I'm pretty fucking sure it got canceled, like, pretty fast. Yeah, it got canceled after one season.
That's unfortunate, considering the movie was #1 for like 3 weeks straight, especially across Halloween. Like, it came out at such a good time.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing. I Know What You Did Last Summer is one of those things that I don't feel like you could, if you wanted to, you could actually make it an anthology kind of thing where like it's something to do with, oh, we're getting revenge on something that happened last year. But I think everybody it's just so synonymous with this film.
It's
like,
played out at this point. I think with any other, if another film were to pick this up and run something similar, it wouldn't have the same feel to it.
No, and again, that is the entire reason why the legacy sequel happened, and it's a new cast of characters, but they did include Julie James and Ray Bronson's character.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They included them in this movie, and they have to do with the plot. So it is very much a direct sequel, and I would go even so far as to consider it the official third sequel, even though there was a third sequel.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, that movie fucking sucks.
We don't talk about what you did that summer.
No.
All right, so as far as this movie's reception for you personally, how do you feel like it holds up to other 90s slasher flicks?
It is an iconic 90s slasher because when you think of this movie, you also think of Scream, and I think Scream is the biggest horror movie of the 90s. It in my opinion, is the biggest horror film that came out in the 90s era.
I am inclined to agree with you there. I will also say that I believe overall Scream is a better movie than I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Sure, it's a more intelligently written. Not that this wasn't intelligently written because this is a straightforward, but I think in terms of how Scream had the combination of the actors at play, Kevin Williamson's writing, Wes Craven's direction, and also the fact that they made it very meta. They made it very satirical. It was a send-up of the genre, and it
was
played
aware of itself.
Exactly. That was the whole genius behind Scream, and why Scream is actually still a franchise today.
It was actually partially satirical. Like, it was written with that intention, correct?
Scream?
Yeah. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, as far as a straightforward slasher film, look, if a movie can give us a villain that is iconic, you've done a great job, because you have Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, Pinhead, Chucky, Art the Clown, the Fisherman. Like, you have all these very iconic characters, right? That sells it for me. If you have such a villain that is so good like that, because the Fisherman can be anybody. Like, unfortunately, they gave him a face outside of the slicker suit, which they needed to, but you could put anybody in the slicker suit and continue it.
And maybe if/when we cover the second one, we'll have to talk about that some more for sure.
Yeah, I would like to. The second one was actually fun.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. I think I think that they were not as careful with the filming on the second one as they were the first one. I think it was actually shot worse. I remember watching it with you and pointing out some funny things, but I do not think it was a bad movie. I still enjoyed it for what it was, and I'm still going to go see the new one at some point as well.
Yeah, same here. I want to throw a couple of fun facts out here about this movie before we jet out of here. Jennifer Love Hewitt got cast on her ability to project vulnerability. And another fun fact is that Melissa Joan Hart, who infamously played Clarissa from Clarissa Explains It All and Sabrina the Teenage Witch, was offered a role, but she turned it down because she thought this was too much of a Scream ripoff.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny. I could have seen her doing well in it, but I'm glad that we got Jennifer Love Hewitt instead.
Yeah, so funny enough, Jennifer Love Hewitt was actually initially cast for the role of Helen. Like, they wanted her to be Helen. And And I think they did a good job casting Freddie Prinze Jr. as Ray because like the director really wanted a person that had like an everyman kind of like personality. And he's really good at, portraying that. He does look like, boy next door, blue collar kind of guy.
Yeah. He kind of gives this like a wholesome cinnamon roll kind of vibe.
Yeah, but he don't want to stand up for his woman.
I was about to say he's a pushover.
Yeah. The soundtrack to this movie is actually very fucking good. So if anybody out there is a huge fan of like 90s rock, this is the soundtrack for you. There are bands like Typo Negative, The Offspring, Soul Asylum, Toad the Wet Sprocket, Southern Culture on the Skids, Our Lady Peace, and Korn. Like, come on now.
I think it's a very interesting thing to notate as well that Lewis Duncan, the woman who wrote the original book that this is based off of, was actually appalled that it was turned into a horror film. And she wrote several other works that she was well known for, including a book called Who Killed My Daughter in 1992, which is a true story about how her own daughter was shot and killed.
Well, goddamn.
Yeah, what a life. But after her daughter's murder, she actually distanced herself from the thriller and horror genres, which is probably why she ended up not liking that in the end. And in fact, they actually ended up catching the person who did kill her daughter in 2021, I believe 5 years after she had already passed, unfortunately.
If you would like to watch I Know What You Did Last Summer, good luck. You will have to rent it on Amazon because the fact that the new movie is out means it's paywall time because anytime you have a movie that you would like to watch from way the fuck back when, it's like, hey guys, it's paywall time. We got a legacy sequel. You're going to have to pay. I know it's like $3.99, but this is a movie I think many of us may have DVD copies of.
Yeah, absolutely. I might legitimately have like a hand-burned copy of this back from like the very earliest 2000s.
From the fucking LimeWire days.
Yeah. But yay, capitalism. Go buy the movie, go watch it. It's worth $4 for a night of popcorn and a decent horror film.
Or you can just check it out from your local library and never return it. I mean, that's please don't do that.
It could be like me in like the early 2000s going to a fucking family video and taking a video game to rent out and just never bringing it back.
What are they going to do? Fucking cancel your membership card?
Oh, no.
Physical media is a thing. If you actually can find this movie as a physical piece, definitely grab it because they can never take it from you.
Can't take what's yours.
No, we here at Cult Macabre are very big proponents of physical media in all forms. That is movies and music. So, yeah.
If you could just support the creators. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, fuck yeah. So I Know What You Did Last Summer, again, 1997. If I'm giving it like a rating out of 10, in my book, it's like at least a good 6.5. It's not the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread. I know that's an old terminology, but it's not. It is a by the numbers slasher movie. However, it doesn't suck. It is rewatchable, but it's not like, oh my God.
You're never itching to watch this movie.
I don't watch this movie every Halloween or like every right. I got to tell you, before we watched it for this, I probably had seen it, I don't know, maybe twice in the last 7 years.
Yeah, I think this is a 6 for me. I don't feel like there's anything in particular. Like there's not one particular scene where I'm like, oh, I'm excited to see this, with the exception of that first kill, honestly. Right. While it is done well, and I will continue to watch and appreciate it in the future, it is not one of my favorites, and I do not go back to it very frequently.
Right. If you have any horror movie suggestions for us to review that you would like to hear us talk about on this show, please leave those in the comments down below. And for past, present, and future episodes of Cult Macabre, you can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. You can leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. You can leave us a rating and leave comments on individual episodes on Spotify. And if you're listening to this episode on our YouTube channel, please consider subscribing to the channel, clicking the bell for notifications for future episodes, leaving a like on this video, or leaving a comment down below. Any engagement helps. And if you'd like to follow us at The Cult Macabre, all of our information can be found in our Linktree links in the show notes below.
If you would like to join us for more of pop culture's dark side, sign the Black Book and join the cult. I'm Lee.
And I'm Richie.
And we'll see you next time.